Hello there, YouTubers. This is CD Mangaka, and today I'm bringing you some Black Ops Launch gameplay. Game type is Demolition, and this is a full party versus full party scenario. And I'm using this game not to show off like a close game or whatever. I mean, it goes relatively quick, as you can tell by the time. But I'm going to use this as just some evidence to support a standpoint I have on an argument that me and a couple other individuals on my team go through. This is not a recurring argument nowadays anymore. We both kind of seen each other's point of view and perspective on the issue thing, and the objective excuse me there, our arguing point is like, how important is connection, you know? And my friend thinks, you know, like, connection is just about everything, or he used to kind of think that. I think he's kind of leaned back a little bit, but you know, he takes connection as a very big deal. You know, he's very uncomfortable if he doesn't have like a 4-bar to work with, you know, and I think he's gotten a lot better at that too. And meanwhile, I'm on the exact opposite side of the argument, and my exact opposite is just like, I don't care about connection. I don't care what you know, connection you're rocking, because of my skill level, whatever, my superior vantage point, my Woody's gamertag-esque gameplay style of setting up the engagement and controlling it. I'm gonna beat you every time, or at least every time the bullshit doesn't happen, because it's just I have better positioning on you and whatever. You know, I try to eliminate connection. Like right there, connection gets me killed right there. That whole death was caused just by connection. I mean, I was so far away before he even started firing at me on my screen. And I will admit that was a connection based on death. And I'm not flustered by connections based on a death too much, you know. I mean, whenever I get into a gunfight, guy turns on me and kills me or whatever, I mean, generally my aim was off a bit, so I couldn't get the last 2-3 bolts that I needed to get into him. Well, you know, into his skull. So I lose a gunfight there, or just connection thing doesn't register it fast enough. And so I have played with a host like connection, though. I have been hosting a few games, and there is a bit of a difference there, but for me, it's not enough to really warrant a thing like host advantage will decide the game for you, which is kind of like the viewpoint that some people take, is that like connection is what decides the game for you. I don't believe that. I think connection is important. Like, for example, a 1-bar is never going to beat a 4-bar for the most part, but in a case of like maybe a 2 versus 3-bar, or a 3-bar versus 4-bar, in my opinion, skill far outclasses the ability of connection. Skill outclasses person's connection. All right. I don't go to extreme here to illustrate my point. I don't care what connection you have. If you're a 4-bar and I'm a 2-bar, let's set up that situation. If you're a paraplegic retard, okay, I'm gonna be very. I don't mean to bash these people on right here. If you have like such horrible hand-eye coordination, if you have some sort of mental disability, all right, and that, you know, prevents you from, you know, having great hand-eye coordination, slow reaction time, or whatever, I don't care what connection you have, I'm gonna beat you every time. And I don't mean to be picking on people with that in that kind of situation. I don't by any means mean to. All right, but I'm just gonna illustrate the point. If you cannot react fast enough, if you can't line up your shot right, then it doesn't matter how good your connection is, you're not gonna beat somebody who can. That's my opinion. I want you to look at my whole team here. I think Link's manager pulled host. Yeah, Link's was host here, and so we all have a 2-bar, and he pulls in a bunch of other Europeans. So we have a majority of the team who's got 2 bars, and they all have 3 bars. And look at their scores. Not one of them has a positive KD. This is ridiculous. All right, and I mean, you're gonna see what we do to this team right here. My whole team of 2 bars and whatnot. Look what we do to this other full party. It might be a party of 4 and a party of 2. They have different clan tags going on. But even then, an organized group. This is an organized group, more or less. Look what we do to these guys with our crappy connections. This is ridiculous. And this, to me, is just proof that skill is going to outweigh connection when connection is at an equal level, alright? Connection will override the skill occasionally, but not overall. I mean, it's going to decide 1 or 2 gunfights here and there, but it's not going to decide how you perform overall in a game. It's not going to decide who's going to win overall in game, who's going to have the shopper gunners as dogs or whatever, who's going to be capping the flags, who's going to be sponsored up the enemy. It just determines who's going to win that one gunfight that, you know, is going to, like, that could totally jack up your kill streak or whatever. I mean, this just proved to me, and my friend has gotten a little more moderate in his view. You know, he doesn't think connection is like everything. He's gotten a lot better at managing that kind of issue and not raging about that kind of stuff so much. And I've gotten better at kind of understanding that, you know, hey, connection does have an effect on you. You know, I'm not totally quite quote-unquote ignorant as it would be about the effects of it, but at the same time, you know, we reach a common ground, a middle ground, and it's a good middle ground. We can coexist in a sense. I mean, we don't argue about it nearly as much. We don't really get after each other nearly as much about it. We understand both each other's side, and that's a good thing, just about having little debates with your friends. You just kind of come up with viewpoints and argument, and I try and find evidence for my stuff. For whatever point I make, I try and look for the evidence of that, and, you know, it's kind of tough for him to find evidence of that because, you know, I don't have the patience or tolerance for it. That's one problem I do have. I'm not the patient kind of person when it comes to things. I'm the kind of guy who always has to be right, and that is a flaw of mine, but it's tough for him to get the evidence because, I mean, I got my YouTube channel here. I can post it up on YouTube and say, looky here, this is my evidence, where is yours? And, you know, like, the whole world can't see it, though. And so that is a bit problematic, but, I mean, I have been on both sides. I mean, I have been screwed up by connection plenty of times, and I hate how much, you know, but, you know, like, but that's like with a 2-bar, with like a 3 versus 4 bar, I don't really care about how it goes down. I mean, look at these kids. Just camping in the back of the map. I mean, granted, there's a chopper gunner up, but even then, we're all sitting there with my 2-bar, they can't react, and right there, that was just lovely, not even a hit marker. I couldn't get a hit marker because, you know, while they do, the uno de barro, fantastico. But I think I should wrap up here. My point is just like, if you have close connection or like an equal level of connection, skill is going to matter a whole lot more in determining who's the better player or who's going to have the advantage than the connection will. Connection does help, but it's not the determining factor. That's just like that's a point I want to make, and that's a point I want to make to you guys. If you think connection is a big deal, look what my team did here to these guys. Remember that, okay? Connection helps. It doesn't make it so, though. That's skill. CD Mangaka here. Little point for you guys. Some food to think about, I suppose. I'll catch you guys later.